All right, 8th graders and 7th grade honors kids. Today we are going to learn mean absolute deviation. It's a bunch of steps. It's not confusing, but it's so many steps that you could get lost. So I'm going to need you to make sure you pay super close attention to this. But it's not hard. It's just basically finding the average with some subtraction. You guys can do that, okay? So we're going to get started. All right, so we're going to start with two sets of data, different sets, and this is just so I can show you an example, okay? So at any point, if you have questions, that I fully expect some of you to have questions, raise your hand. Pause, raise your hand. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the average of this data set, and then we'll find the average of that data set, and then we'll come together and talk about the mean absolute deviation. All right, so we know how to find average. We take the sum of the data and divide by however many we have. So we have 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 4 is 12. So the average is 12, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 4, which is 3. So the average, so I'm going to say the average is 3 right here. I'm going to erase this, okay? And I'm just going to plot these points to show you guys where it comes from, because in the book they don't do all this, so I had to go look to figure out what's the best way to teach you this, and this to me is very visual and very good. All right, so I'm going to plot 2 like a dot plot, 2 and then 2 and then 4, and I have 2 4s. Now we said the average is 3, right? Okay, so this is the average right here, so we're just going to say, okay, do you understand that? All right. Hopefully you do. All right, so then we have 1, 1, 6, and 4. I'm going to find the average of this data set. Well, 6 and 4 is 10, and 10 plus 2 is 12. And we have 4 numbers, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. We just did that. Okay? So the average of this data set is also 3. Okay? Do you understand that so far? If you don't, raise your hand. All right, so I'm going to plot these points in again on dot plot. So I've got 2 1s. I've got 1 6, and I've got a 4. And my average, again, is 3, right? But it looks different, right? Because these look closer to the average, and these look kind of like spread out from the average, all right? But it's still the same average. So this is where we're going to find the the mean absolute deviation. We can see that this is only one place away from the average, right? We can see that, but let's find it. So this is how you would find the mean absolute deviation. So we know absolute value, we've learned about that. Okay, so let me get started. Okay, so how we find the mean absolute deviation is we take our points right here and we subtract them from the average. We take our points and subtract them from the average, but the absolute value of it. So we have 2 minus my average is 3, but I'm taking the absolute value, okay? And then again, I'm finding the average of these. 2 minus 3 plus, because I'm going to find the average. Then I have 4 minus 3 plus 4 minus 3. So when I do this, the absolute value of 2 minus 3 is -1. But the absolute value is +1, all right? 1, okay, 2 minus 3 is -1, but the absolute value is 1, plus 4 minus 3 is +1, and that's absolute value of +1 is 1, +1. And then 4 minus 3 is +1, absolute value is 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 1 plus 1 plus 1, 4 plus 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay, and we can see that visually, that the average distance each data plot is from the average is 1, 1. Okay, so the mean, let me do a different color. Let's see. So for this set of data, the mean absolute deviation don't think it's D. I did not spell that right. I'm losing my mind. We also, this is also called, let me just do the acronym. It's also called MAD. The mean absolute deviation. Now, this is how far the data deviates from the average. I hope that makes sense. So we can see that this is deviating one spot from our average. Okay, so this mean or MAD, the mean absolute deviation, is 1. All right, so let's go to this next set of data. Same average, but the data is spread out more. Okay, so I'm going to find the mean, the mean absolute deviation. Okay, so I can see it's going to be 1 minus 3 plus 1 minus 3 plus 4 minus 3 plus 6 minus 3. Okay, and we're dividing that by 4. Okay, so, and actually, let me do it like I did the last one. All right, so we've got 1 minus 3, which is -2, but the absolute value of -2 is 2. All right, so 2, and then 1 minus 3 is -2, but the absolute value is 2, plus 4 minus 3 is 1, absolute value is 1, and 6 minus 3 is 3, but the absolute value is 3, same thing. And now we're going to divide that by 4. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, and 5 plus 3 is 8. So we have 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Okay, so the mean absolute deviation, or the MAD for this data set is 2. But it kind of makes sense. So like right here, you can see right here that it is it's two places. This one is 1, whereas this one will be 3. But if we're looking at an average, it's about two places away from the average on the data set. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope you understand that. I feel like that's a really good explanation. If you have questions, raise your hand, okay?